everyone, it is me, it is Jaylene, and it's Feb 4th. I am back with another video. I did a poll actually last couple days ago, I want to say, on my Instagram. You should go follow it. But it's about, what about your sex number? Does that matter? This video is going to show you why you don't actually really need your number, but also at the very end of the video, I'm going to show you probably main reasons why we actually do want to keep a little bit of a track or sense of what our number is in the first place. But first off, what is a number? Obviously, if I was going to ask a mathematician like Albert Einstein, he would say exactly pi or something like that. But for us in the sex coach biz, what a number we kind of hear it as is how many people have you slept with or had sex with. So why does it not matter your number in the very first place? There's actually a couple of really great reasons why. First one. Probably knowing your number is, we generally relate to it as how many times have you had sex or how many partners have you had with sex. But guys, what is sex? What do you mean, what is sex, Jaylene? We define sex so easily in such a heteronormative point of view, which means we generally see it as a straight person sort of terms. We don't see the different types of sex that happen, between gay people, lesbian, queer, whatever you are, that do not involve basically vaginal intercourse with a penis and a vagina. Mind blown. There's so many different types of sex out there, so it's actually really hard for us to compare what our number is, because for me, I would think of sex as something that's actually penetrating my vagina, while with other people, they might actually consider it as something that, maybe a person goes down on them, and that is what sexual activity is. So our numbers are actually all very variant in the way of how we actually record who and what. End of the story is, it does not define sex in any sort of aspect. So how are we supposed to judge each other's numbers if we all come from these different sorts of ways of defining sex? Reason number 2. We use it in a society that uses it against us with our own judgment. And I'm talking right now about Western society because that's where I live. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. How we view our numbers comes with this entire aspect of societal judgment that we can face, not only from our own self sometimes, but also from our peers as well. And not only is it hard for just, simply me as a femme, because I know the judgment that I get is, if the higher number that I have, the more worse off I am as a femme in this society. On the opposite spectrum, so basically on the other end of it all, is the male identified, and where they're at is actually, the higher the number is better, but the less number that you actually have does also give a certain judgment towards them of not being enough of a man, as society likes to say. Society is very misjudged about this right now. One major example I can actually think of this is the movie in 2011. It's starring Anna Faris, but it's What's Your Number? And this girl actually reaches to this point where she thinks that her number of 20 people that she slept with is going to put her in an expiry date to not be able to find a partner, in this case a man, to marry or anything like that. So she has to go back and recycle through her old partners to make sure her number's still not over 20. Doesn't it suck that you feel like you would have to go back through your exes just to make sure that you didn't feel like you had an expired sort of sign above you with your number? People, we're all still very much okay, no matter what our number is, whether it's super high or super low, as long as you are being safe. Which brings me on to reason number 3. With this whole thing, like I said, in the society, we kind of come with some sort of judgment according to what our number is. And these are all the myths that actually come with this judgment. This one's for the vagina owners. The higher your number, the looser your vagina will be. No. The second one, if you have lots of many partners, you are considered unclean. This can go for almost any gender, and it comes with actually a lot of huge fear, I think, more around the stigmatization of STIs that we see. Just so you know, STI people are not dirty people. There are many safe practices of how to have sex with someone who has an STI, but we'll save that for a later video. It doesn't matter how high your number is. What actually really matters is that you are having safe sex protected sex, and that you do get tested regularly so you actually know if you do have contracted anything that you're not going to be going out and having unprotected sex with other people. Just look at model student Jaylene here for an example. Model student Jaylene here goes and gets her STI checks almost every 3 months, basically on the dot, as well as I always make sure I do have protected sex. It is in the best interest of not only me and my own anxiety and worries, but also knowing that I'm not actually maybe possibly transferring anything to them either. The fun fact about model student Jaylene is that she's had a lot of partners, but I'm safe to say that I am a very healthy, sexually active femme that is actually quite clean. Look at me, guys. I just showered. This one can also go for other genders. I think it's more for femmes than the male identified, but in the sense of you are less worthy to date if you have a higher of a number. And we see it in the prime example of the two words that we kind of see loosely getting tossed around is fuckboy and slut. Even though us femmes are working towards, making slut a very more positive connotation of the word and twist in the meaning in society, it still has a really huge negative connotation towards it for certain large populations. It does not matter how many people you have slept with, you're still worthy of finding a partner, and you still are so worthy of love. Now we are actually moving on to the reasons why it actually might matter to kind of have a ballpark idea or just a sense of how many partners have you had within your last visits to the doctor's office. A lot of times during medical history, especially if you're going to be getting an STI screen, as medical professionals, however, doctors, nurses, whatever it is, should be very professional. If they do ask and you do give them an answer of your sexual orientation, how many sexual partners have you had between your last visit and now, they should not at any point change the way they provide their services for you just because of those answers. Like I said, they are definitely professional, so if you are okay with sharing that with them, you definitely can. Maybe we'll provide them better information as towards how to help treat you better. I just say keep a ballpark idea of the recent encounters you've had, especially if they were unprotected, because if you're going to go get an STI screening and you do come out positive, you might have to let those people know. The last words I want to say to you is just remember that your number does not define you. You are still worthy of love, and you do not deserve any sort of judgment, whether it is if you have too high of a number or too low of a number. That is not needed for you. So you reached the end of this video. I really hope you liked it. Go hit like and subscribe, and make sure you get all the other cool videos that I'm going to be coming out with you weekly on sexuality, sex topics, and BDSM. Remember, this is Jaylene. It is Femme Fourth, baby. Have a great day. Mwah.